the market ventures, and our presentation is on our theory of fall of advertising. First, I wanted to go over the role of advertising now. Obviously, it has to be creative, innovative, and it has to be able to stick in the consumer's mind. We thought this Viagra advertisement was very well done. Obviously, something going on with the Terra Pizza right here. That's one that we thought did a good job. Now we have a video of another one that we thought did a good job.
Lisa, the hairpiece going well. Thanks to Sunsilk Anti-Flat, your hair has twice the volume. But, let's talk about what just happened. With responsibilities.
So we thought that was good. Next, we wanted to get into the context of the history of advertising, where it's come from, and all of that. I'm going to talk about Lucky Strike. They're a cigarette company in the early 1900s. Obviously, this first one, they're saying that they has 20,679 positions, saying that Lucky's are less irritating than other cigarettes. That's kind of touching on the fact that the credibility in older advertisements was not checked into as much as modern advertisements, because obviously it's a health hazard to smoke. The next one, this Miss America poster, just like previous advertisements in modern ads, they use a social figure just like this with Miss America. A ad campaign that Lucky used targeting women, also through this ad, their slogan was "Reach for a Lucky instead of a sweet," which was pointing women to a route to Lucky's to thinness, which obviously is not very credible. You smoke a cigarette and you're going to lose weight. That's not going to happen. But sales did increase by 300% from 14 billion to 40 billion. So obviously it helped.
If you guys notice this Coca-Cola ad right here, you notice it's not very flashy at all. This shows that back then advertisement had more of a job, of explaining and describing the product rather than trying to grab somebody's attention. They used seemingly simple ads, but being so highly valued, the ads didn't have to be very incredible at all. Very basic. With the release of the Model T, it was one of the very first automobiles. Therefore, their slogan, "Don't experiment, just buy a Ford," lacked creativity. This was due to the fact that it was like very innovative, just because it was a new product.
I know you guys saw those first two videos, and you can totally, it was solely for entertainment purposes. So what we can see now is that advertising in today's age is more metaphorical than literal. And some companies, they just make advertisements and ads and commercials just for entertainment purposes. So they're not really talking about their product and service most of the time. So therefore, now whenever we want to buy something as consumers, we trust other consumers more than the marketers for the product information. So that's where PR comes in. PR mainly consists of word of mouth, peer review, and social media. All of these All these forums are very cost effective. Word of mouth, whatever you hear from your friends, or whatever that's going on about a product or service. Peer review, you ask your friends and family about something that you're about to purchase. Social media, we see a lot of blogs and discussions online whenever we're trying to find a product or a service that we're trying to purchase. I think it's very important to understand the difference between public relations and advertising. Public relations is more of earned media. If your quality is good and if your product and service is good, people are going to talk about it. People are going to tell other people how good it is. So that's earned media. Whereas advertising is paid media. Companies invest and pay for billboards and commercials. And I'm going to say this again. It's again for entertainment purposes. So that's why it's called paid media. Also, PR is more credible. Companies investing more in PR have better reviews. And PR also focuses more on what is important and what you need to buy, what is reliable, what has good quality, what is more affordable. Whereas advertising focuses mainly on building exposure, creativity, relies solely on visual media, and advertising is more towards how you should spend money and just buy the product rather than talking about the quality of the product. In 2014, there was a study in 2014 commissioned by Empowered, which concluded that PR is 90% more effective than advertising. Also, qualitative and quantitative. PR is qualitative, obviously, because people are going to tell you about the quality of the product and service, whereas advertising, I don't know if quantitative really, it's very vague, but it basically means that companies try to get you to buy their product, spend money on it, get more of their service and product, and not really focus on the quality. So that's why PR is more qualitative and advertising is more towards the quantitative side. We all know that the world is just changing rapidly with new technology and everything, and internet is taking over. It's already taken over the traditional ways of advertising. Companies invest more on interactive marketing than traditional tactics of advertising these days. There was a Forrester research that said that this year $55 billion will be spent or have been spent by the end on interactive marketing, which includes the biggest component of it is the social media. Whenever we go to YouTube, we try to watch a video, but before watching it, we come across a commercial. So companies are investing every day more and more into how they can spend money and allocate their budget towards advertising interactively. Their budget is allocated to advertising, even though the media landscape is changing into social and community networks.
Hi, my name is Brandon. I major in finance. I play the guitar, play the piano, play the drums. I am very good with numbers. These are all very good examples of marketing. Whereas PR, it's like, for example, I'm your friend, and I say, oh, his name is Brandon, he plays the drums, he plays the guitar, he plays the piano. Which one would you trust more? Nowadays, people tend to trust their friends, tend to trust people that they can relate to. That's where the fall of advertising comes nowadays. This is a turn of the century where advertising, its initial use, has just been melted away. Nowadays, people want to see reviews. They want to be able to trust. Let me ask you all a question. Would you use a new product that you see on the ad? Or would you use a product because your friend greatly recommended it? So what's next in advertising? Advertising nowadays is, how many here use Pandora? Do you like the ad in Pandora? Would you click on an ad in Pandora? What if I told you, personally, I do not? You would make me dislike the product and the company even more if they keep pestering me with ads. But sadly nowadays, people have been going into more on mobile ads, social media. But this is the turn of events now. People don't hand out flyers anymore. They seldom do ads in newspapers because who has a newspaper? Who pay for a newspaper now? No more posters, postage advertising that still work. There was a study that says spending on global mobile ads rose more than 100% from 2012 to 2013 and expected to rise to 72.2 billion by 2017. And also nowadays, you all notice that what the previous group has said, those ads that follow you around on your computer, like asking you to buy this pair of shoes, asking you to buy that, it's because they have a way to track your browsing history and see your interests. For example, free Wi-Fi in Starbucks, in any place, they have something in there that can track your history and then see. And then it's basically like getting a free survey, getting free information on the public. So in conclusion, advertising now, the fall of advertising in the sense that we mean that the initial use of advertising has already been long gone. The initial use of advertising was to set their brand in the public's mind. But then in this world nowadays, that brands have been so saturated in the market that basically, to us, advertising is just an everyday thing. If you see an ad on something you don't know, you probably remember the ad because it's from you. But then how often, maybe 10 minutes after I ask you what is the ad trying to promote, and then you don't even remember the product. So what we're trying to say is, in this day, PR is a new thing to getting your brand into the public's mind. Whereas, I'm not saying that advertising is not important anymore, but that advertising is still vital to just show the public that we are still here, to keep your brand in the public's mind. And in the future, we might see even more innovative ways. One of the more important things are like global ads. So basically, companies that fail to recognize this will spend either too much on advertising than they should have. So in conclusion, that in this age, advertising is different. Advertising does not work as well. So we all have to recognize this. And thank you. And one more question I have to ask. Do you all even remember that product in the video we showed? Who remembers? I'll ask you tomorrow.
What do you think that it meant by the ad which showed the Lucky Strike saying it's toasted? What the hell does that mean?
It means that
The way it was created,
they toast it rather than they burn it.
Gives it a better taste.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Number 9. Camcorder.
All right, we're the six marketeers. My name is Jacob. This is Brandon, Derek, Kylie, Christina, and Ira. We're going to be talking about the importance of diversifying the global market.
According to the United Nations population estimates, the world population in 2013 was roughly 7.2 billion, with the United States only being 313 million of that. So we only make up about 4% of the entire world population. Realizing this, companies must understand that there is great potential for profit outside of the United States market. And our group is focusing on the strategies of Apple Incorporated, the Coca-Cola Company, and McDonald's. These companies represent three large corporations that understand how important it is to be diverse and adaptable in the global market.
Some of the things that Apple does to incorporate into their marketing scheme to appeal to a global market is they use like multilingual commercials, which that cuts down on promotion costs or production costs rather, so they don't have to make different commercials for each country who speaks a different language. They also use like similar stores that help get them recognized by consumers. If each store is set up the same, it's not going to create any confusion as to what the store is. Another thing they do with all of their commercials is they simplify their message to focus on the Apple product itself rather than like that the entertainment purposes for like the last slide. They don't really have that with Apple. They focus on their product being sold. Like another point to simplify the message, like if you've ever seen like the Mac versus PC commercials, it's a white background, two normally dressed actors just acting like normal people. They also have like, if you see like their billboards, it's usually on a white background with just the products that they're promoting. And that's ways that they simplify the message to appeal to a global market. All that is, it helps with their brand recognition globally.
One major way that Coke attempted to market to people on a global level was a campaign that they ran called Everyone's Invited. They used their position at the 2014 FIFA World Cup to market to people that they normally wouldn't be able to reach, the millions of people that are watching in different countries that are involved. To date, this was Coke's largest global campaign.
Another way that Coke has adapted to accommodate to a global market is by shifting from a broad marketing strategy to a more specific and focused strategy. This means a focus to targeting value-based advertising by associating with the lifestyle and behavior of consumers. This can be seen in the World Cup promotion that Derek mentioned, as well as the recent Share Coke campaign, which both have helped to create value co-creation with consumers. Another way that Coke is diversifying for a global market is through its extremely large product line, which is now comprised of over 3,300 products. The Coca-Cola Company now sells many other products than just soft drinks, including energy drinks, coffee, tea, and smoothies, to name a few.
McDonald's has also increased its product line to meet the demands of an increasingly global market. Although McDonald's has specific products that can be seen in every store, like hamburgers and french fries, they change and adapt the recipes and create other products to meet the local flavor. For instance, India does not sell beef in their patties. This is largely due to religious restrictions, which would make it taboo to eat beef in the region. The most notable expansion of McDonald's product line can be seen in their specialty coffees, competing against brands like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. They've also updated stores to have a more modern feel, as stores like Taco Bell and Yum! Brands have done. McDonald's uses a think global, act local, which means they have one global strategy that they use, and then they make it to where it's adapted for each region. They also use stores like in France have a different environment than those in the United States and India, whereas some stores like here in the United States advertise fast and convenient, other stores in like Europe advertise family friendly.
In conclusion, companies like Apple, Coke, and McDonald's have all proven the benefits of having a globally recognized brand. And with 96% of the world population residing outside of the United States, it's important that all companies learn to adopt to the ever-changing needs of the global community. Thank you.
number 10. Okay.
Okay, our presentation is called The High Cost of Cheap Clothing. I'm Jessica, this is Clinton and Miranda and Tasha. Okay, so what's in your closet? If today's consumers knew just what lengths companies took to make the cost of clothing so inexpensive, do you think they would continue to buy from the same retailers? So the bottom line is called outsourcing, and it's a practice used by different companies to reduce costs by transferring portions of work to outside suppliers rather than completing it domestically. So the drawbacks include workers not being paid living wages, child labor, excessive working hours, sweatshops, and unethical practice. So the question we're asking today is it morally permissible to buy from clothing brands that use these standards?
So many clothing businesses look to outsource their labor because of the simple fact that it's cheap. A business could be paying someone $10 an hour here that they could be paying someone in Bangladesh 21 cents an hour. Moving labor overseas also means not having to deal with the many overhead costs of running a factory, such as gas, electricity, and water. And cost reduction is a big part of any company's goal, and sending your labor overseas is a simple way of achieving that, but it has many negative aspects as well. Having to deal with its own domestic issues is a big task, but now that a company is outsourced, they must be able to manage resources in different countries where language barriers and time differences can make communication very difficult. Not being able to supervise each step of the production chain may lead the product to not being exactly what the designer had in mind. By keeping your production where you can see it, you can assure your customers that the products will always be in good quality. That's the selling point of many domestic manufacturers because it gives the consumer a sense of connection with the product, something that an outsourced company would never be able to do. In 2013, a clothing factory in Bangladesh collapsed, killing over 1,000 people and leaving over 200 missing. Workers had refused to enter the 8-story Rana Plaza factory building because there were large cracks in the factory walls. The owner had brought paid gang members to beat the women and men workers, hitting them with sticks before they even go into the factory. A company would hate to have its name mentioned along with a tragedy such as this, but that's the risk they take for going overseas where factory rules and regulations can be drastically different. Labor costs will always have an effect on the final product, but businesses should never sacrifice quality for their own benefit.
I'm going to talk about the ethical issues of outsourcing, how it affects us as an American and people working for the factories overseas. America used to be a leader in manufacturing industry, but in present day the size have changed. U.S. is based more on service, and manufacturing, most of it is transferred to other countries like China, India, Mexico. U.S. used to be a leading manufacturing industry when it started the Industrial Revolution. A lot of jobs were involved in marketing, manufacturing. A lot of American jobs are based on manufacturing too, and due to the outsourcing, U.S. has almost lost 2.7 million jobs from 2001 to 2011 just to China itself. without counting the other countries. The other ethical issue surrounding outsourcing is low working wages for people in other countries. They are paid very little for how much work they complete. And report even said that a person working in those factories can make a minimum of like $49 a year, a month, sorry. Comparing to the standards over here, a person can make $58 working a day on minimum wage. The vast difference in the wage creates indifference between the people working over there and over here, and this creates the companies to take more profit. And as well, the economic standards of those countries that have the manufacturing industries over there, the people are undereducated and underpaid. So this causes people to take their children to work with them, and this causes rise in child labor, which is a great problem that most of the industries face due to lack of income. Some people, some children are even paid to work like full hours, 7 days a week, and the report said that a child can get paid as low as 6 cents an hour. That's going to be the ethical issue surrounding outsourcing.
So I think you guys a little bit about some of the health risks that we're all facing as consumers. So everybody here, I'm sure, has shopped at Forever 21, Shoppers, Sweat Seal, places like this. But you guys would probably be pretty shocked to find out that there's high levels of lead that are contaminating all these things that we buy. Pesticides, formaldehyde, carcinogens, and flame retardants are found in our clothing that we buy. Obviously, going back to the high levels of lead, there's never any safe level of lead that needs to be in anything that we buy, because it can affect developmental problems, leading to lower IQ scores, delayed learning, and shorter attention spans. And a lot of the lead that's found right now is in purses, belts, shoes, things like that. So that's kind of shocking to me as a consumer. It can also lead to heart attacks and kidney failure. So why is it that we're shopping at some of these places? Well, we're all college students, so the bottom line is to buy cheap clothing, even if it's probably wacky quality. But what is it really worth it for us as consumers to go out and buy some of these things that are hurting our health? Not only is it hurting our health, but obviously this clothing, it falls apart very quickly. So I know a lot of you have probably shopped at Forever 21. I'm going to use them again as an example. A lot of times you will only wear the clothing a few times before it falls apart in the wash. And that, to me, as a consumer, is very unsatisfying, because I want to have a product where there's longevity. So that's kind of another point that I want to put on. Along with this, there's 68 pounds of textiles that end up in landfills every year for the average American. This is a little bit surprising as well. This makes it kind of, because these products contain petroleum-based fibers, it makes it difficult to decompose. So that's another thing. So now that you guys know a little bit more about some of the contaminants that are found in the clothing and what we buy, I hope you guys feel more knowledgeable as a consumer and feel more aware. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff Lacey. This is my group.
Kelly.
We decided to do Tesla marketing as our marketing issue.
Okay, a little bit about the background. It's based out of Silicon Valley. It's the most successful Google startup. Elon Musk is the founder of it, and he also founded PayPal. And he wanted to help the environment by he wanted to create a car that wasn't harmful to the environment. And so he also wanted to solve the problem of sustainability. And so he called this the largest terrestrial problem that we face this century.
So how we really started was we looked at environmental scanning with Tesla. We decided that's a great way we can see the forces in the current market, how they're supposed to be marketing. The forces we really looked at was technology. It's a huge part of Tesla. The socio-cultural, we thought there's a lot of kind of environmental issues. The economic kind of, gas price and stuff like that. The political legal, and there's been some trouble with how Teslas are sold. So.
For social media, Tesla, they didn't want to build a brand without, they wanted to build a brand without spending any money on advertising. And the CEOs, they don't have Twitter or anything like that because they don't have that. Roughly 28 out of 500 CEOs have a Twitter. And then for rate of technological change, yeah, the superchargers in the Tesla, they're expanding rapidly, and batteries are improving over time, and so it's really good. And then for their marketing advantage, even companies like Ford is trying to copy them. The CEO says that they have the skills and ability to build a Tesla-like model. They drove one, they took it apart, they put it back together, and then they drove it again. And then for the key, it's super cool because look, it looks like a car, and Tesla, instead of having an engine, since you charge it, instead of having an engine, it's empty, so you have two trunks. And if you tap on the back of the key where the trunk is, it'll open for you.
That's not a typo. They actually, instead of an engine, it's a front trunk, so it's a front.
Tesla's way of solving the problem of sustainability is the Model S. And this Model S has a span of 250 miles, and there are about 250,000 of these on the road today. The Model S has beat out all competitors. Tesla has worked more than Fiat, Mitsubishi, Suzuki, and Isuzu. Tesla's market capitalization is $28.9 billion, and Fiat's is only $7.5. And there are only 6 parts on a Tesla that need regular replacement, which are the 4 tires and the 2 wiper blades. The Model S was the first electric vehicle to receive Motor Trend's Car of the Year award. It also received a 99 out of 100 by Consumer Reports and 5 stars in all NHTSA crash tests. This is the highest score for any vehicle. The Model S was built from the ground up and is the only car with a body made up of only aluminum. Tesla wants to take side mirrors off and replace them with cameras. This is going to be as safe. It just allows for a lower drag coefficient, which impacts the way a car passes through the surrounding air. And they also want to create a self-driving car.
One of the big parts is economics. Even though right now the price of gas is kind of low, it's probably going to end up raising again, and it will eventually reach pretty outstanding rates. So People are looking for alternative modes of transportation that maybe don't, rely on fossil fuels. Electric energy has been, the actual price of electric energy has been decreasing. The solar panels are cheaper to manufacture and are becoming more efficient, every year. Natural gas power plants, we're in the middle of a natural gas boom, so there's a lot of natural gas power plants. It's cleaner energy and it's producing a lot of cheaper electricity. And one of the reasons Tesla wanted to do is the power stations they have set up are free for any Teslas or actually any electric vehicle drivers. If you go to a Tesla power station, you can charge your car for free. They're usually powered by solar panels on the roof and stuff like that. They wanted to do that because they wanted to encourage Tesla, people to drive around and that kind of stuff. They didn't want them to have to pay for that kind of stuff. So it's actually pretty beneficial if you can, drive to work and plug in your car at a Tesla power station, or drive anywhere and it's always charged. You never have to pay a cent to get that battery charged. So it's pretty good when it comes to stuff like that.
In this class, we've spoken about how marketing is pervasive social activity that we do constantly. I would argue that law is also just as pervasive in all aspects of life and business. How law affects marketing at Tesla affects how they can hire people that employ the law, health and safety of the product that they have to be liable for, safety and advertising regulations, taxation policy, and trade regulations. But specifically, the problem that they're facing currently is the way they're selling their cars is they sell directly to the consumer. They refuse to use franchise dealerships. And more than half of the 50 United States have laws in effect that prevent them from selling directly to the consumer. Michigan specifically recently passed a law that won't even allow Tesla to set up their galleries that they use to showcase these models and communicate directly with customers. How they've been selling is they've been setting up these galleries in shopping malls and places where there's high traffic so that they don't have to advertise as much. They'll have a million people walk in every month. And they would sell them directly there at the location. There's many states now that are preventing that from happening. Of course, anyone can buy a Tesla in any state as long as you're doing it through the internet or a way that's not contracted in that state. Through environmental scanning in the areas of technology, social, culture, and economic and legalities, Tesla has been formulating its own unique marketing strategy. Diving into this blue ocean, Tesla is setting the bar high for other auto manufacturers to try to enter this new market of fully electric cars. Is there any question?
You didn't mention how much they cost.
The current models are around $60,000 to $70,000. They want to release a new model. They have a Tesla X, which is like a crossover that was supposed to come out this year, but it's been postponed to later next year. And they also have a entry model, which is going to be about $30,000 that they have plans to propose. So they're slowly lowering the price. Because right now it's kind of high to get into it, but they are wanting it to get lower and lower, more entry level. So
That's a good strategy as well.
What's the price for Chevy level?
I think it was about $40,000. Was what I saw. There's different trim packages.
Very good. Number 12.
things started, I found a quote on avine.com that the average drug user is unknowingly tracked over 100 times in a day. And this is pretty alarming, but marketing heavily relies on internet activity to appeal to each individual's interests. So data mining or ad tracking uses cookies to collect data from the user. And there's first-party cookies, which is data collected by anything the user has submitted directly to the web page. And this could be like making a user profile or even just clicking like on Facebook. And then there's third-party cookies, which are often set by advertising networks. And these are the cookies that track you unknowingly through various online and offline sources. And of course, there's many advantages and disadvantages to ad tracking. Users can be more receptive to ads that appeal to their interests, but it does violate privacy since cookies can obtain very personal information. And then there are currently do not track efforts that are moving to protect the privacy of internet users.
So kind of a brief history on data mining. It was first coined in the late 1990s, but the concept has been around since the 1950s. The 1950s saw neural networks, cluster analysis, and genetic algorithms. The 1960s saw decision trees and decision rules, and the 1990s saw support vector machines. And just three kind of distinct qualities of data mining. There is classical statistics, standard distribution, standard variance, cluster analysis, other stuff like that. There's artificial intelligence, which is applying human-like thought processing to these statistical problems, and machine learning, which is applying classical statistics and artificial intelligence together. So just once put together, kind of makes it work all well together. So why you should kind of use some of this in your business? Help spot sales trends, develop smarter marketing campaigns, and accurately predict customer loyalty. And some of the current uses of data mining in businesses today are market segmentation, trend analysis, market basket analysis, interactive marketing, and direct marketing.
Alright, so I'm going to talk about the pros and cons about ad tracking. So there are ads that track us wherever we go, follow us regardless of getting our permission, whether or not. There are pros, however, to ad tracking, just like there are cons. Today, everyone enjoys relatively cost-free internet thanks to revenue derived from advertising. I never even thought about how advertising actually has a lot to do with how internet's free for us, and also companies have personal information that they want to share. Tracking technologies unknowingly implemented in first and third-party cookie files in the user's computer. Also, the cons for ad tracking is ad trackers now have set up ads that are hidden. So when you click randomly, you might mistakenly click on an ad that redirects you to another website, which hackers actually take advantage of this, and you might get viruses downloaded on your computer without you even knowing because you mistakenly clicked on an ad. So those are just some of the pros and cons of ad tracking.
In conclusion, ad tracking helps companies market their products and services to consumers based on implemented and collected data. But a few questions that we need to focus on as consumers and as us being data to companies. Does it cross the line of personal privacy? Is it ethical and is it safe? In the sense of it being ethical, we are unknowingly being watched every single time we're on the internet, whether it's on your phone, on your computer, on your tablet. Any single time you click on an ad or you search something in Google, you'll start seeing a pattern of what you've been recently searching. And companies use you as a number and use you as data. And so it kind of crosses a really weird line of us kind of being put into a itemized state instead of rather just treating us as human beings in its entirety. Is it safe, just like how Jared was talking about viruses and stuff being able to penetrate your computer systems and stuff? It's not very sound, and it kind of leaves us thinking like, well, am I able to get on the internet at all without being kind of creeped on, you know? And you can always protect yourself from these things, just like how Kendra was talking about through software technology, by installing AdBlock. That's one of the software technologies that are offered to block advertising from tracking you. Refreshing and cleaning your cookies. I cannot stress this enough. Whenever you refresh and clean your cookies, not only are you deleting some data which will clear some storage for your computer space, you are deleting a lot of junk that is being saved continuously on your computer. Diversify your passwords. A lot of companies, or a lot of say hackers, for example, will use a tactic called phishing. I'm sure you all have heard of it. And so kind of diversify and change your passwords. I know UCO offers the you have to change or reset your password every like 180 days or so. So like kind of learn off of that. And be smart and browse safely. There's nothing kind of weirder than just seeing some of the stuff that you've recently been searching, like a Christmas gift for a friend or a present for your mom, and just kind of reoccurring patterns and stuff. And just kind of keep an eye out whenever you start seeing something weird or you start seeing some suspicious activity kind of happening within your online browsing and stuff like that. You need to kind of keep an eye on that kind of stuff.
I like that you all did this description on how to address the issues, so that's really good. Thanks. Number 13.
Stopped connecting. All right, you should be good.
The name of our group is Creative Concepts, and we are going to be doing ethics in market research. My group members, Tyler, Savannah, and Sheridan. And so first we're going to have Savannah come up and give us a little bit of information.
Okay, we did data collection as our topic of our paper, and I did the history of it. As far as I'm concerned, it dated back to the 40s. I'm sure everyone's read the book 1984 by George Orwell. Big Brother's always watching you, stuff of that matter. Well, good old Google, I Googled it, and the first paper that had come up was that the NSA had broken the rules. The audit found that they had broken privacy rules over 1,000 times. That was in recent years, but and another study that was done in 2003 has showed that from like the 1950s, people have been more concerned, like numbers have gone up, that they can't really get away from technology and that they can't totally confide in somebody without fear of somebody overhearing or watching or stuff like that. So that was the history, that we've always kind of been concerned.
More recently, with advances in technology, it brought about kind of the age of big data that we're in right now. Big data is defined as high volume, velocity, and a variety of information assets that demand cost-effective, innovative forms of information processing that enable enhanced insight, decision-making, and process automation. And it's going to reveal buying patterns using the market basket analysis, things like that, tendencies and personalities of your consumers. This has led to a new niche in the employment sector, like data brokers, data firms, where their entire job is to gather customer info, sell to large corporations wishing to improve upon their marketing strategies. Some examples of privacy concerns that have come up in recent years is like Facebook, who has kind of been known as the face of privacy concerns. Their Messenger app, I don't know if you have that on your phone, but I wouldn't suggest it. It's been seen through examination of it that they have spyware software and they can access all kinds of your phones. I don't know if any of you randomly had a U2 album pop up on your phone, but that wasn't very cool. That's how they used it, is if you had a Messenger app, you got a U2 album downloaded unknowingly on your phone. And Facebook in 2012 incorporated the Atlas data software, which is a really advanced, the most advanced ad software, ad platform. And there's always been targeting in marketing, but this makes it so specific. An example I saw is marketers can, if they wanted to market to like 15-year-old guys that drink Mountain Dew that live in central Colorado, they can market that specifically by accessing more stuff on your phone outside of the Facebook app, and they can go into other apps and all of your internet, anything on your phone they can really access like that. Google app also had issues in 2013 after illegally obtaining personal information through their Google Street View program, which I think that has something to do with the little car driving around with a camera on it that you see. Somehow they were accessing people's local networks as they would drive by, and they gained access to people's encrypted information somehow. So shared and talk about it. We'll be on to talk about the full aid standards.
Okay, so upholding ethical standards. First, we're going to talk about some disadvantages. Not upholding ethical standards negatively impacts client relationships, consumer relationships. It can also jeopardize the firm that you work for and the marketing industry as a whole. Okay, so then advantages. There are some great advantages to practicing moral principles. These include, but are not limited to, client satisfaction. There's an increase in consumer trust. You gain a reputable status, and you also create the possibilities for career advancements. Okay, so the four major areas. Both the Council of American Survey Research Organizations, CASRO, and Marketing Research Association highly encourage moral research practices. According to CASRO, there are four major areas that must maintain a code of ethics. So the first one is responsibilities to research participants. Market researchers should protect the privacy rights of consumers and ensure confidentiality. The identification of the consumer is to be kept confidential, and their information should not be shared or sold without the consumer's acknowledgement. Researchers should not harass participants. They should honor the decision to withdraw from a study, and also being mindful of vulnerable populations such as children and teenagers can protect their rights, and it also creates a model for other research agencies to follow. The second one, responsibilities to clients. Relationships between a research organization and the client must be constructed on confidence and mutual respect, meaning that a research organization must conduct the study in the manner agreed upon and allow the client to verify that the work performed meets contractual specifications. And the third one, responsibilities to reporting to clients and the public. According to cashflow.org, when reports are being prepared, whether for client confidential use or public release purposes, it is the obligation of the research organization to ensure that the findings they release are an accurate portrayal of the research data, and careful checks on accuracy of all figures are mandatory. And the fourth one, responsibilities to subcontractors and interviewers. It is important that the research organizations refrain from requesting subcontractors and interviewers to engage in actions that do not support the Code of Standards and Ethics or CASRO publications. And finally, these codes of standards and ethics ensure the improvement of integrity and quality research, thus enhancing the marketing industry as a whole.
So as marketers moving forward with the issue of big data, it's an industry that's growing and it isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay. So we believe that marketers should embrace it and also be transparent. If most of the data that's being collected is personal, we believe that marketing strategies will be more individualistic and will target you specifically, as they already are, and transparency is going to be key with that. so if marketing strategies are going to change, marketers in the future will have to be creative in their methods of delivering their messages. We think that will bring in kind of a marketing renaissance as data industry grows and technology increases. So will the means of delivering messages. In conclusion, big data is an issue for marketers. It's an evolving issue with privacy concerns to how messages will be delivered in the future. Thank you.
Since you mentioned it, how many of you have actually read 1984? How many of you have actually read 1984? Are you required, a lot of high schools tell me they're not requiring a 1984.
I have a reading comp too.
You did? Okay. All right. Number 14.
It's like they have been.
You all are going to work.
Yeah.
Our group is IHU, and we did the effects of social media on society. In today's world, there are so many different social media networks that can be accessed on almost any computer, smartphone, or tablet device. Using social media to market for a product can be very beneficial and efficient for both the producer and the consumer.
Social media allows companies, domestic and foreign, to market their products to consumers worldwide. One of the examples we found, there's a hotel chain in Taiwan that basically relies on Facebook and Twitter for its advertising in order to get tourists from America to go there to stay for hotels. And then, so social media truly benefits both businesses and consumers. Billions of dollars are spent for ads on social media by companies yearly. People using social media will see some form of an advertisement every time they get on.
So social media is still rapidly growing, continue to grow with technological advances. We have so many different social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest. Even Gmail now has like the Google Plus, so all that's kind of together now. Online shopping continues to increase. Even like Amazon has teamed up with Facebook and Twitter with the buy button. So you can directly, from ads you see, you can click on that and take you directly to Amazon and buy it right there. Number of smartphone users purchase items online continue to increase. By 2018, 27% of online purchases will be made by a smartphone. And 51% of American smartphone users have been influenced by online ads. I think those numbers are probably going to just continue to get bigger and bigger as more people get on those social media sites.
And the numbers of adults that use social network continues to increase. 47% of American adults use some form of social media. And at the same time, social media helps with brand recognition and influence. The more people using a a social media network, the bigger influence they have to have other people to join and easier for people to recognize.
They also ask some kind of social media generational usage is one of them. Also, adults tend to have a hard time staying connected because they didn't grow up as a teenager and can have trouble using social media.
Social media can be addictive. Technology can at times consume our lives and become our main focus. People are becoming more involved in their online interactions and falling further from reality. It also tends to limit human contact, less face-to-face interaction. Some people are more concerned with how they look online than how they are in real life. The newer generations aren't developing face-to-face communication skills, and some say it's destroying families and family interaction. Einstein once said, "I fear the day technology will surpass human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots."
Another disadvantage is privacy problem because companies may use customers' private information as a marketing purpose. So there can be a legal risk, either illegal or false advertising.
In conclusion, social media has a major effect on society and marketing, and it continues to grow rapidly in our country and all over the world. The usage of social media is increasing more and more people are using smartphones and tablets in their everyday life. And companies shouldn't forget other ways to market and advertise because not everybody's on social networking.
How did you define adult usage of social media?
Like what percentage?
No, I mean, how are you defining what's an adult?
I would say like 18.
18 and up. All right, thank you. We got time for one more. Since you all dressed up, bow ties,
Does anybody remember the cartoon, The Jetsons? Remember back in the day, you used to think, man, at this time of year, we're going to be flying around in cars, and we'll be on the street eating more guys than gas and doing all these cool things with technology. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet, but we are trying to. We have the Apple Watch now that just got released. Samsung has their version. Now we're having the ability to have our wallets outside of our pockets. They're attached to our phones now. We are the Bowtie Boys. We decided to go for the Apple Pay program and leave off with the history.
So we decided to do a little short history over Apple. It started back in 1976. They started out with just doing like microprocessors, little things like that. And they've really just started to grow every year, like leaps and bounds. It's really been impressive to see. And one of their main things is they've been like a marketing giant. They have done a really, really great job of marketing their products. And something they really, really focused on is, you know, what we do spend millions of dollars seeing how people use their products and stuff like that. But their thing was, once Steve Jobs came in, he was like, you know what, I know what you want. So I'm going to test these things, and then if I really, really like it, I know you're going to like it as well. And then the three things they've always really focused to on their marketing is that they want to understand their customers better than anybody else. And if they do that, then they're going to have a leg up on everybody. Their second part of their marketing was to focus on what's important, so they've never had a problem cutting out some part of their product line to bring in a new one. And then the third one is people do always judge a book by its cover. So they wanted to make sure everything they present is creative and innovative and convince you that it really is, even though half the time these things are all identical. So we'll go to the next one.
Okay, Apple Pay is an electronic payment system that uses near field communication or NFC. It's a standard for all contactless payments. This process uses an antenna in your iPhone and a receiver at the checkout. Apple has included a secure element chip that encrypts all of your payment information. This chip transmits a one-time payment code so the merchant never has your credit card number. The last layer of security is your fingerprint. To activate the payment, you hold your phone close to the NFC receiver and place your finger on Apple's Touch ID. Apple Pay is supported on the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. When the Apple Watch launches next year, the iPhone 5S will also be supported. You can also use Apple Pay on the new iPad Air 2 and the iPad Mini 3 for online purchases.
The reason big banks are buying into it is there's increased opportunities of spending. Whether that means that people are just wanting to travel to new technology, or for the fact that people are going to take their phones everywhere. Even like if you're going to a beach or you're going downtown, a lot of people won't want to bring their wallets. And with the people always having their phones at every minute of the day, that gives them the chance for increased spending, as well for more security than just having your credit card lying around that anybody can go online with a number. And they're more likely to get their product out there. Just because the big banks are supporting Apple Pay right now doesn't mean when more secure like currency and other things come out that they're going to be able to support them as well, just to get their product name out.
I am talking about the competition of Apple Pay, and right now the competition is Google Pay, or Google Wallet, and Currency. Google Wallet came out 2 years ago, so they've been in the market for quite a bit. They know a little bit about things. So Google Wallet basically is used on the Android devices. And you can use on the iPhones, but you can't use the NFC technology with it. Google Wallet can be used, some advantages is that it can be used with loyalty programs and gift cards. And Currency does this as well. Currency can be used, they won't be out till 2015, but they will be used with mostly all devices if you have this NFC technology. And they also use the loyalty card programs and gift cards. A disadvantage of Currency is recently they have been hacked. So that might, and they're saying they're really secure, but since they've been hacked, I don't know how much credibility they will have with their customers when it comes out. Apple Pay is known as being so secure, so they will be used with. I don't know if they will pull away some of the Android devices just because of this product, but I don't think it's that big for them to actually lure in the people who are using the Android phones.
So one of the biggest issues with Apple Pay is not everybody buying into the program. Companies such as Rite Aid and CVS have actually disabled the technology that works with Apple Pay just because some people aren't buying it. Apple has more or less a monopoly as far as when it comes to your devices. Most people either have an iPhone or an Android. But the interesting thing is that they belong to a customer program called the Merchant Exchange Program, which Walmart, Best Buy, Lowe's, and Dunkin' Donuts, and some of the really big players in the retail market belong to. So in the future, it will be interesting to see if they actually even accept Apple Pay or if they can even, because currency is also, it's what the merchant exchange program is working on. That's their beta to rival Apple Pay. So, I mean, when you lose somebody, even such as Walmart, that creates so much business, that could be a real thorn in Apple's side when it comes to the technology.
Unfortunately, Apple's got a pretty developed line, mostly due to the competition. We've got a huge foothold already. That basically was being pulled out of any market that they can get into. But they do have a security advantage going forward, and as everybody knows, most people don't want their stuff stolen. And if Apple can get their foot in the door and beat currency, it'll help them out greatly. So unfortunately, we're not quite at the Jetson stage, but soon, hopefully we'll get completed.
All right, I have 1 minute. So on Tuesday, we have 3 groups left to go, is that correct? One group? One group left to go. All right, so we have 1 group left to go. Then we need to talk about marketing channels, and then I would give the review for the next exam, which will be a week from today. So on Tuesday, we'll have 1 group left. I apologize about getting to you today. Sometimes technology takes a little bit to get over from the last time we cut into a big period or time period. So just be sure you're here next time for the review for the 3rd exam. So good job on your presentations. I think everybody did really, really well. I appreciate it. Thanks.